welcome back to the Nikki Clarke Show. The show is about conversations that matter, and I am here, part of the Keep6ix Keys to Unlocking the Social Injustice System at the Yonge Street Mission here on Gerrard Street East. And there's a fantastic lineup of amazing panelists who are in the community, who are making a difference. And stay tuned for some great footage and some interviews about transforming lives, one story at a time. You're here on the Nikki Clarke Show. We'll be back.
My part as an advocate, as somebody who's worked in the youth justice system as a open custody child and youth worker, and I've seen both hand frontline and behind the scenes on how certain rules and certain legislations can inhibit one's ability to be effective when they get back in the community in terms of finding jobs, being able to cognitively and emotionally heal. And we as a community have a responsibility. And you know, Richard's doing some great things as well as the Keep6ix staff. We want you guys to know that as long as we do our part, we expect the community to do their part. So you just being here, we want to thank you, and we hope, as Richard said, you get something from this workshop. If you have any thoughts, if you have any feedback, we definitely want to hear that, because everybody has a little piece of the puzzle that creates this amazing picture.
Actually, emotional for me. It's a long story behind all this. But I'd like to tell you all that probably I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for this gentleman. I went through situations. We made bad choices and end up in a situation. And a few years ago, I picked up an assault causing bodily harm and was incarcerated. And Mr. MacDonald ended up to be one of my defense team attorney. But the thing that made me brought Keep6ix to life is because of what I went through within our judicial system. If it wasn't for the fact that I was able to put together a team that defended me and believed in me, I can pretty much say I would not be here to talk to you today, or even Keep6ix to be here to give to the community and do what I'm trying to do. And I want to say thanks, Sean. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. It's a hurdle. And my main objective at the end of the day is to let the community know the consequences about making bad choices. But most of all, the process within the system and the flaw that hopefully one day we're able to take these issues to a higher level in government and bring it to their attention. So these young people can have the needs that are necessary for them while they're going through the process, or even while they get out. And that's the reason why I ask you all to be here today with me to share this. At this present time, I'd like to give the mic to Sean, and he can express to you about a little bit about himself and about his work in the system itself.
Okay. How grateful I am, how honored I am that Richard invited me here today for such an unbelievably important cause. And I think it's an unbelievably important organization, and something that I think, based on my experience in the criminal justice system, is much needed. I just want to say thanks. Pretty clear we have a problem today I'm going to focus on Toronto, and I think I'm going to focus on the African Canadian community in Toronto because it is being severely impacted by a lot of things: poverty, racism, abuse of police powers, abuse of crown powers, at times problems throughout the system. So I think there's no question you're all here because you agree in this community we have a big problem. And for too long, a lot of us have been looking the other way. As a defense lawyer, I try and get involved, but oftentimes it's on a person-by-person basis, and who comes into my office and what their problems might be for that particular file, and then I try and help them. But I've looked the other way on a larger scale. I'm not gonna do it anymore, which is why I'm glad I'm here. We're losing way too many kids to violence and to the criminal justice system right now, way too many. And I think we don't have to go much further than the last 3 months of newspapers where we're seeing shootings every day. This is not the Wild West, and why are these kids doing that? I have to believe that they don't want to be out carrying guns or shooting one another. If they had an option, I don't think they would be. So I guess my point is, I think Keep6ix is really here to change our minds, and I think it's important that we support them. I've talked to Richard many times about Keep6ix. Having mentors for these kids and these youths at risk, allowing them to see, not in theory, and I think theory and legislation and policy are important, just to go to your point, but I think just as important, the kids, in order to see hope, they have to see real life benefit. They have to see a mentor. Where do you live? What does your apartment look like? What is it? It's a nice crib, right? You've got normal stuff. You don't have to risk the police coming in your door, and you go to work every day.
Hi, welcome back. This beautiful young lady is Nova Stevens, and she is one of the finalists of the Miss Canada Universe pageant. Everybody please welcome Nova.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. My
I'm
pleasure.
excited.
Isn't it exciting? So tell us what date, when is it coming up, the big pageant?
So the big pageant, the finale, is actually August 18th, but it's a week long. So starting August 11th to the 18th is when we compete. But my coronation is August 18th.
I like that. I like that. You have to claim it. You have to
it.
speak to what you want. I love that. I
Absolutely.
love that, and
Absolutely.
it'll manifest into exactly what you want. So tell me about Nova. How did you get to Miss Universe Canada, which is not an easy feat? I know that you have to put a lot of hard work into it, lots of talent. So let's talk about that.
I kind of just fell into it. Modeling is usually what I've always done. I remember this, I think it was like 4 years ago, because I did this 4 years ago. 6 years ago, I applied for Miss Universe Canada, or I submitted my pictures, because I was like, oh, what's this thing they're looking for people for? Do they need models? So I submitted my pictures, and they got back to me, and at that time, I don't think I was really into it in terms of my mindset, so I deferred it. And 2 years later, 2014, which is the first time I did it, they contacted me, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll do it. It wouldn't be any different from modeling, So then I did it, and going in, I thought it'd be like modeling, but it's completely different. The way that you walk is different. The way that you pose is different. Absolutely, it's very minute, but it's different. And
now, people from the outside wouldn't know that. You figure it's all the same dance kind of thing.
No, it's not. Very, very different. I mean, with modeling, you're selling the clothes, whereas with pageantry, you're selling yourself.
Okay.
You have to show more personality.
Okay.
And then with posing, again, modeling, you don't smile, right? And then pageant, you're like smiling, showing your teeth. So the first time I did it, I don't think I had as much confidence as I did this time because I didn't really know myself and I didn't really know why I wanted to do it. And like you said, you have to believe in something before it can even manifest. And although I wanted and I thought I believed in myself, I don't think I wholeheartedly believed in myself.
Got it.
Which is why I placed top 12 as opposed to winning the crown. And this time round,
You claimed it.
I claimed it, and I decided not to run with long hair because Miss Universe's motto is confidently beautiful, and I thought to myself, what does that mean? What does it mean to be confidently beautiful? I can't have long hair and consider myself confidently beautiful because it's not authentic to myself. It's not who I am naturally. It's not how God made me. So I decided to go short, which is why my hair is short.
Natural hair.
Natural hair. I want young girls to look at themselves and consider themselves beautiful. Long hair is beautiful, so is short coiled hair.
Sure. Whatever God gave you
Whatever
is beautiful.
God gave you is beautiful. There's no ideal image of beauty
Yeah.
because we're all beautiful.
Absolutely.
And that's why I decided to do it. I want to, inspire somebody maybe to see themselves beyond the glass lens and beyond society's eyes and just see themselves for who they are and how God made them, which is a beautiful creature. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And confidence is very
confidence
beautiful.
is key.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
absolutely.
Well, Nova, on the reality side of beauty pageants, there's not a whole lot of representation of the Black community. So I have to, really tip my hat to you. If I had one, I would tip it, because I know that you were going in with a little bit of challenge. Can you talk about some of the challenges you faced?
You're right. The last Black woman that has won Miss Universe Canada was in almost 30 years ago.
30 years
30
ago.
years ago. In 2012, we had, I believe her name was Hadawo, and she went to Miss Universe, but she never got to claim the position of Miss Universe Canada. So she technically wasn't even the winner. So 30 years, that just boggles my mind because Canada's known to be diverse and full of cultures.
Beautiful people.
Beautiful
here.
people, but how come we're not represented? Are we not seen as beautiful? So I've definitely experienced that. I remember the first time I competed. This is nothing against the organization or the artist at the time. We were asked to have nude lipstick on, and the artist was to put nude lipstick on my lips, and they were staring at me for must have been like 30 minutes or longer, I don't know, and they couldn't decide what nude was because nude on my skin and on a Caucasian varies.
Of course.
And I asked, I'm like, can I at least give you pointers? They're like, no. They're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I've never worked on anyone like you before. And
Like me before.
And to be honest, Nikki, that comment has never left my mind till this day. Because what does that mean, someone like you? Am I an animal? Do you know what I mean?
Well, you live in Canada,
Yeah.
so it's a diverse nation.
But how can you call yourself an artist if you can't do makeup or hair on all
Everyone.
people of different shades?
Every tone.
So I was very upset. I think I cried that day, and I think it was the day before preliminaries. Yeah. Because it just made me feel as though I wasn't beautiful. Because if he didn't think he needed to know how to work on my skin complexion, then he didn't consider
it
my
makes you
he
feel
didn't-
irrelevant.
Yeah, he didn't consider me beautiful enough to even want to learn how to work on my complexion.
Because it's beyond the scope of what he identifies as beautiful, which is
Yeah.
a real shame. So I think what happened, and I hope happened, is that it was a learning for him, and I hope he was provoked enough internally to go beyond his narrow way of thinking
Yeah.
and to open it up to understand that beauty comes in every color.
Yeah, and to be honest, at that point, I felt that's why I didn't win because the artist couldn't do my shade. And when you have a Caucasian model, they contour you, they do all this beautiful makeup. But when it comes to me, they're like, oh, you have beautiful skin, you don't need makeup. But it's like, no, I want to enhance my beauty, and that's what makeup's all about.
You want the
And I
service
wanna
like
look
anyone else
just like
gets.
anyone else.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm not sure if the makeup would have detracted from your ability to show your intelligence
For sure.
and your talent and your beauty, which is natural. But
sure.
it was an unfortunate situation that you learned from and you've overcome, and now you're here again.
Yeah.
And you're shining and you're ready to grab the crown. So we're really looking forward to that. But I know that it's a process and you need a lot of assistance. So can you tell us how we can support you?
Well, you can support me by voting online at missuniversecanada.ca and School for Nova Stevens. I'm also raising funds for SOS Children's Villages. They are a non-governmental organization that provides loving homes for children who do not have parents or have been separated for various reasons. And the point of a village is to make sure that the child can actually grow up with siblings and a family, as opposed to an orphanage where they may have like 12 different kids and one person. And there's not really a connection there. So it's a really good organization to support. I'm gonna start a GoFundMe page. I haven't done that yet, but I should do that as soon as possible so I can let you know. And you can follow me on Instagram, the Nova Stevens, so THENOVA Stevens, STEVENS, as well as Facebook, Nova Stevens, Miss Universe Canada National Finalist 2018.
Fantastic. I'm going to ask you to speak again to the audience
Okay.
and just give some words of encouragement to someone who may not be identified as the typical standard beauty that we need to keep evolving, and you're breaking barriers, and thank you for that. But someone who maybe falls in that category and is thinking of pursuing modeling or a beauty pageant, what would you say to them?
For anyone who feels as though society views them as different, that is your key. Run with it, because what is normal? What is normalized beauty? God made us all to look different. Had He intended us to look the same, we would have all looked the same. And celebrate your uniqueness. If you have big lips, big nose, big ears, whatever it is, celebrate your uniqueness, because that's what makes you stand out. What makes me stand out is that I'm really tall, I have short hair, I have big lips, natural big lips, big features if you will. I don't have Eurocentric features, but that's okay because I'm not a European woman. I'm a Black woman, a proud Black woman who wants to make sure that people who are like myself can see themselves as beautiful queens that we are. And let's really challenge these standards and force them to see everyone as beautiful, not just the Europeans or those that have long hair. Yes, they're beautiful as well, but so are we. We're all beautiful.
We're all beautiful.
We're all beautiful.
Under this amazing rainbow. I want to thank you.
I want to thank you.
And can I just say something
Yeah.
as we are, talking about not the typical beauty standard.
Yeah.
For years, I was, kind of not ashamed, but just, oh no, my freckles were always kind of standing out, and I was like, oh, you got a lot of freckles. And then it's amazing.
It's a trend now.
It's a trend now. Because Meghan Markle has these gorgeous freckles, and people are actually microblading freckles on their skin.
But that's the thing.
So I'm just like, wow, I knew to be all the rage one day.
But that's the thing. People will celebrate those features that you think are ugly. Like Black people, we're known to have big lips. What are they doing now? Everyone's getting injections. They're getting their cheeks, their butts, everything done.
Yeah.
And these are features exclusive to us.
Yes.
But they weren't known as beautiful, but now they're considered beautiful. Why? Because society has decided that it's beautiful. But why should we give society that much power?
Yeah, true. So definitely, there's a lot of food for thought, definitely. So I appreciate, what you've observed, but we will get there. We will get there, and everyone will be understood, and then we have to keep evolving the standards of beauty.
And I think it starts with us.
It does.
Yeah.
It does, absolutely. Well, I just want to thank you so much for your time. Nova
Thank
Stevens,
you, Nikki. Thank you so
I'm
much.
right behind you, and
Thank you so
I'm going to catch you August.
Will you come to the show?
I will definitely be there. If you invite me, I will be there to support
August
you.
18th. Okay.
I'm a good cheerleader.
I believe it. I believe it. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, no, anytime.
On such short notice, too.
Oh, no. It's a pleasure. Nova Stevens, you got to catch her on social media and come out to see her at the Miss Universe Canada pageant in Toronto. We'll be back. Hey everyone, it's Nikki Clarke, and I'm here at the Yonge Street Mission on Gerrard Street East in the heart of Toronto. And I'm so excited to be part of a fantastic event today. It's about Keep6ix. And from what I understand, Keep6ix is what you say on the street when it means like I got your back. This is going to be safe between the two of us, looking out for the other person. And we have many community partners here looking out for each other. And we have an amazing individual who is the founder of, and I'll let you introduce that, Zia Brown. Welcome.
Thank you. So my name is Zia Brown. I'm the founder of Think Twice. Think Twice is an organization that provides trauma supports, non-traditional, culturally sensitive programming, and supports to young people who are in prison and also young people in high-risk communities.
Awesome. Well, how long have you been involved in this, and what propelled you to get involved in this kind of outreach?
Think Twice started in 2006 after the Summer of the Gun. And my own family buried people one after the other in 2005. So it was a way for us to combat the gun violence. And we chose to do that with people who have lived experience, and we chose to eventually focus on people that are in prison.
Okay. Now, have you been to any of the institutions? Have
Yeah,
you
we're
seen
in.
what's going on?
Yeah, we're in Collins Bay, we're in Fenbrook, which is Beaver Creek, we're in Workworth, and we're in Millhaven.
And what do you see? What's going on in the prison system? What have you observed?
So there's a few things. So we started this to provide trauma coping strategies for trauma and grief, and also to build positive male role models who young people who are gang involved or involved in that street lifestyle can relate to. And we find that those people are in prison. So we went there with those two, and also to release hope in the midst of hopelessness. So we went there with that. After being there for a little while, I realized that the inequality and the systemic oppression in general, is on a different level. There's absolutely no culturally sensitive programming. So, I mean, the city wants to lock up these young people, but you're locking them up for what? You lock them up, and then there's no programming. There's no rehabilitation programming, period. So they're going in, gang involved, they're coming out gang involved. They're going in not gang involved, and they're coming out gang involved. So that's an issue. So because of that, and because of the need for programming and the support that they need, especially when it comes to young people that are in the federal institution, is why we continue to push through the barriers. It's volunteer based. We are applying for funding, but up until now we haven't received much, a few program funding, arts based, and we're very non-traditional. We don't do things the regular way. And because of the need is why we continue to push through that. So yeah, in there right now, there's a younger population. There's a lot of young people, and they don't understand. So the staff that we see is predominantly Caucasian, and it doesn't reflect the clients that they have. So that's number one. So they don't understand. They're coming from the suburbs. They're not coming from Toronto. They don't understand the culture. They don't understand the race, nor do they understand the street culture, nor do they understand the youth population. So that's an issue. Then who is developing the programs is another issue. There's no programming that can relate to them. They need grief supports, they need counseling, but there's no one there that can relate. So you have a whole bunch of people that are walking in, and even in the community, that are walking in retaliation, and they're walking in trauma and grief, and there's no supports. And there are people that are stepping up now. Unfortunately, they think that it's all strictly racial, but we haven't. Culturally sensitive needs to take into account the street understanding, the street sensitivity, or the youth understanding as well. When we can combine all three, that's when we'll see success.
Awesome.
So sorry for one off.
No, this is amazing, and I applaud your efforts because it is so needed. We're in a crisis.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word, and I too have similar observations. I went to Joyceville,
Okay.
actually, to do a Black History Month
Right.
presentation, and I saw very similar, the dynamics were the same, and I think too that you can't paint every person in the system with a broad stroke, because you have to look at the whole person.
Yes.
Everyone has different life experiences. Everyone, so it's not like you're bad and then that's it, and then we deal with you. I spoke to people in there, and there's some human rights issues. There are issues where they don't even know why they're in prison, because not everyone who's in jail maybe are guilty. They don't necessarily come from the same background. There's a lot of diversity, and I was talking to a gentleman who his father was a professor and his mom was a nurse, and he's got this great middle class background, never had a day in his life of trouble, and then it was just wrong timing, wrong place, and he ends up being is thrown in jail for a crime he didn't commit, and he's got to deal with all this stuff. So we've got a real problem in our hands. So thank God for people like you, who are getting involved in this. And we need more people. And a part of it, it can happen to anyone. It can happen to anyone's daughter or son. Just put into a system, and then they're cranked through, and then there's no real supports for them on the outside or on the inside.
Right.
So it's a very vital thing. So let's talk about how we can encourage people to get out there and make a difference, like you're making a difference.
I just think that everyone has a part to play. First, I think when it comes to the social sector, I think that organizations need to be real and honest, and walk in their expertise. I know that times like this, similar to 2005, a whole bunch of money was let into the community. A lot of officers were raised, and communities jumped for that money because they saw an opportunity to take it. I think we need to be real. And those who are experts in each field need to work together in unity. There's no way the kids are going to come together in unity when it comes to gang issues, if their leaders on a spiritual level, if their faith-based leaders are in disunity, if the social sector is in disunity, if the community is in disunity. So I think if we want to see change, we need to come together, and we need to help people right where we are, in the expertise that we have. Absolutely. And in the abilities that we have.
Fantastic, thank you. Words to live by, and together we are stronger, and that's how I live my life. So tell us, how can we connect with you on social media?
So we're on Instagram. It's Think Twice, so THINK 2WICEINTL, or our website is www.think2.org.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. And you keep up the good work.
Thanks so
And
much.
I'm right behind you if you need anything.
Thank you.
We'll be back. Thank you very much for watching this show. I hope you have learned a great deal. I've grown a lot from the conversations that matter, and we are stronger together. So thank you very much for watching, and if you'd like to be part of the show, feel free to reach out to me on www.nikkiclarkenetwork.com. Catch you next time.